So now we have our first presentation of the day from school number 164 from Zelenogorsk, Russia.
Greetings to the hosts, participants, and guests of the Critical Issues Forum conference. Let me introduce Gulnara Nurulina.
Meet Kirill Pushkov. We are students of Gymnasia number 164 from Zelenogorsk, Russia. Nuclear weapons are evil, immoral, and should be illegal. That is what we strongly believe in as a result of our research on the Treaty on the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons, including its history, negotiating process, adopting, the role of the civil society in preparing of this historic treaty, and the current situation with it. Our research proved nuclear weapons have become a modern equivalent of the legendary Apple II discard. Our presentation will address the reasons of various attitudes of different countries to the treaty. Some ways to influence their decision regarding this treaty will be suggested. Our first thing to do was a survey that reflects the attitude of our citizens to the banned treaty. There are two outcomes. People disapprove of nuclear weapons, but they do not know much about the banned treaty. So, as a result of our work, we have created a collection of posters that can influence governments and, which is even more important, the civil society of those states that do not support the banned treaty. Our posters contain information that will likely make people think about the safety of our world. We endeavor to demonstrate that nuclear weapons can neither protect countries nor guarantee their security. We hope our posters could be of use for the civil society in their attempts to appeal to their governments to sign and ratify the ban treaty. Currently, the push of the grassroots movement seems to be one of the most efficient ways to achieve the goal of the nuclear weapon-free world. Also, we noticed that the CIF conference doesn't have its own emblem, so we created our variant. You can see it on each of our posters.
We would like to start with official and non-official nuclear weapon states, as these countries are the main obstacle to the nuclear weapon-free world. The whole humanity looks at them and waits for their decision on abolition of nuclear weapons. They set the pace, and we have to persuade them to disarm. Hopefully, government representatives of these states will see our posters and change their minds. First, we dealt with Russia and the United States of America, two superpowers that possess about 92% of all nuclear weapons. Though officially Cold War ended in 1991, many facts indicate that it is not over. For example, modernizing of nuclear arsenals of the United States and Russia in 2015. 3 years ago, the disarmament process was brought to a halt, with Russia and the United States embarking on massive programs to modernize their nuclear triads, thereby undermining existing nuclear weapons treaties. It threatened to trigger a new arms race. Some recent examples prove a new arms race is on, be it a new Russian nuclear weapons demonstration, or the United States of America 2018 nuclear posture review. Both leaders blame each other for pulling out of the Anti-Ballistic Missile Treaty of 1972 or for aggressive behavior. We can see that the so-called Apple of Discord added greatly to the deterioration of relationships between the two countries. Here is the poster we made. Also pay attention to our emblem. Besides, the countries under the United States nuclear umbrella cannot sign the Treaty on the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons, slowing down entering of the ban treaty into force. It is also a good reason for the United States of America and Russia to start disarmament. France is another official nuclear weapon state. That's why its point of view is important. In its white paper, France's position is clearly expressed, but the vital interests themselves are left vague. There is not any direct threat connected with nuclear weapons to France's vital interests. Don't you think that by spending an immense amount of money on nuclear weapons, France rather hurts than protects its vital interests? Real vital interest of any modern state is well-being of its population, but a big part of the France's budget is spent on the apple of discord, depriving the interests of the civil society. Why should it continue? It's also a poster we made dedicated to France's situation.
But don't you think, Kirill, that North Korea now is the state which causes most concern when they speak about nuclear weapons? North Korea signed the Non-Proliferation Treaty, but later withdrew from it. After this, 5 states tried to engage North Korea in the 6-party talks in an attempt to solve the problem with the country's nuclear program in a diplomatic way, but with no success. Also, North Korea ignores the Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty. By this, North Korea separated itself from the other world. But the latest Olympic Games were a real breakthrough in their relation with their neighbor South Korea. Sportsmen from 2 parts of Korea competed together. It is obvious that North Korea is not going to disarm immediately, at least currently, but Kim Jong-un and Donald Trump are planning to have a meeting. In fact, it is a great diplomatic achievement. North Korea's possession of nuclear weapons affects not only other states, but North Korea itself. Here is our poster addressing the North Korea's situation. Another non-official nuclear weapon state is Israel, which is also one of the most mysterious countries regarding nuclear weapons. Nuclear weapons are an apple of discord of the state not only as a military force, but in general, the fact of Israel's nuclear weapons is opaque. The most important reason for Israel to have nuclear weapons is a restless situation in this region. But in fact, there is no chance to use nuclear weapons because Israel's potential enemies are too close to its borders. It would be suicidal. Israel is not a party of major treaties, but it signed the Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty, although hasn't ratified it yet. It is obvious that to make such states sign and especially ratify one of the most radical treaties, the Treaty on the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons, is a real challenge.
India and Pakistan are the next to be considered. Their conflict is widely known. In fact, both these countries hold nuclear weapons to deter each other. Their nuclear doctrines and nuclear activities are closely connected and affect each other's policies. The events of 1998 demonstrated clearly. So, India modernizes its nuclear weapons because of Pakistan. But what is Pakistan afraid of? India is not going to use nuclear weapons against it because of the no first use doctrine. Thus, our poster represents a dialogue between the 2 rivals leading to the disarmament, and we hope that the same dialogue will soon take place and India and Pakistan will get rid of nuclear weapons.
Firstly, it may seem that the Treaty on the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons will never enter into force, but our research proved But our research covered not only the situation with nuclear weapon states, we also were interested in positions of the states which signed and especially ratified the ban treaty. We created some posters that can lead other states to signing and ratification of the ban treaty by positive example. To influence the civil society is also our goal. We believe that this activity will be helpful for people from all over the world and let them learn more information about the Treaty on the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons and Non-Proliferation Regime.
Although the Vatican is not a nuclear weapon state, it is calling for integral nuclear disarmament. The latest symposium in the Vatican brought together representatives of different states to discuss urgent problems of disarmament and to explore the links among development, disarmament, and peace. As Holy Father, Pope Francis repeatedly reminded us, everything is connected. On behalf of the whole Vatican, he declared their position and invoked to call upon states that have not yet done so to consider signing and ratifying of the Treaty on the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons. Despite its small territory, the Vatican has a great influence and authority as a center of Catholicism. Isn't Vatican with other religious leaders, like Buddhists, a good example for the whole world? Even our spiritual mentors insist on abolition of nuclear weapons. We hope their voice will be heard.
If we look at the maps of other regions of the world, we can see that they have a lot in common. The regions which have already been nuclear weapon-free zones are more inclined to sign the ban treaty. We are going to look into the situation of the states of the Treaty of Tlatelolco. 4 out of 7 states that ratified the ban treaty are situated in this region. It is not surprising, as it was the first nuclear weapon-free zone in a densely populated territory. It is only logical that now this region also supports non-proliferation regime. One of the reasons of such active positions of this region can be the Cuban crisis of 1962. Although states of this region do not have nuclear weapons, exactly here our world was on the verge of an atomic war. So, is it necessary to lead the situation to such a critical and dangerous point to make us understand the importance of disarmament? Latin America, as no one else, realizes the significance of non-proliferation regime. The United Nations Organization in general supports the Treaty on the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons and Non-Proliferation Regime. There are many negotiations to achieve the goal of the nuclear weapon-free world. However, lately there have been little success. That is why the United Nations Secretary General calls for the improvement of the work of the Conference on Disarmament. Also, it is obvious that a lot of money is spent on nuclear weapons. So, the United Nations started a campaign, Move Nuclear Weapons Money, which suggests peaceful options of planning the budget. The United Nations initiatives address the whole world. Here is a poster we made.
Maybe our school is not big, but it has a long history in participating in different events connected with peace and nuclear disarmament education, and we would like to present some of the results to show that even students who do not take part in international conferences protest against nuclear weapons. As you know, the 21st of September is an International Day of Peace, and our students celebrated it by participating in Paper Cranes project. They made a lot of paper cranes and exchanged them with peers from other countries to show their devotion to the idea of peace in the world. The 26th of September is a global network to eliminate nuclear weapons, and we also joined, The 26th of September is an International Day for Abolition of Nuclear Weapons. It is traditionally observed in our school with various activities, movie screenings, press conferences with Critical Issues Forum alumni, and so on. Abolition 2000 is a global network to eliminate nuclear weapons, and we also joined the Reach High video to promote the United Nations High-Level Conference. Our video will be included in the final video that is to be shown to the world leaders to encourage them to take action at the high-level conference. Our students submitted pictures for the international contest Postcards for Peace, and some of the entries were selected for the 2018 calendar. We also decided to contribute to this list and submitted all our posters to ICANN. We hope ICANN will download them to their site and more people will see them and get inspired. To sum up, we would like to say two things. Firstly, the influence of the civil society is important and we must be engaged in its actions. Secondly, the disarmament is a long-term process and we must move step by step to the goal of the abolition of nuclear weapons.
Nuclear weapons have become a modern equivalent of the legendary apple of discord. But if the fruit led to the fall of one city, Troy, the use of nuclear weapons can destroy our civilization entirely. There are a lot of activities aimed at abolishing nuclear weapons. The Treaty on the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons is a global step to the nuclear weapon-free world. We understand that it is a long and difficult way, but as we know, a journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step. So, why is this collection of posters not the first step for us, students, to take part in promotion of the Treaty on the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons?
Thank you for your attention. All the resources are given on the slides. Now we are ready to answer your questions.
Well, thank you for your great presentation. I was really amazed at the unique viewpoints of situations in Vatican or U.S. school activities. And yeah, I was really amazed at the school activities like making peace screen or video programs. And I have a question. Who manages the school activities such as peace screens or video programs, or by students or by teachers or something, some committees?
Usually our teachers tell our students about different peace programs or different peace days, days for abolition of nuclear weapons, and our students participate in different events with great enthusiasms, and they are always ready to exchange experience with students from other countries. It is a great experience for them.
Thank you very much.
Hi, who did the artwork? Who created the art for all the posters?
We were helped by a mother of my partner and pupils from our school, and technical part was I was responsible for the technical part of our work.
Wow.
And also 2 pictures were drawn by the students from our school, so they helped us. Yes.
That's fabulous. Thank you.